Hey YouTubers, this is Sly. Just wanted to show everybody how I do my super elevation. This is just how I do it. Everybody's got their different way. I use microengineering rail. These two tracks here, the inside siding is code 70, the outside's code 83, so there is a little bit of a height difference by design. But the outside main is super elevated approximately 4 HO scale inches. In the future, I probably may not go quite this big, but in any event, I just wanted to show everybody how it's accomplished. You can see there in the picture that the brown auto rack is leaning in slightly, and the one on the siding is level. I'm going to show you how we do it. Okay, here's a section that I'm currently working on. The inside radius is 30 inches, the outside radius is 36, and that brings up another point. I would hesitate to put super elevation, in my opinion, on anything smaller than about 30 because you may run into operational problems. It just gets too sharp. I mean, if you wanted to go with a tighter radius, I would definitely go with a lower amount of super elevation, but being that the minimum radius on this layout is 30 inches, I figured, you know, this would probably work out okay. Anyway, so the first thing I do is, since I use microengineering rail, which I prefer because I like the finer spike detail and the fact that it maintains its shape once it's bent. You know, you have to be careful when you bend them initially because they can get out of whack, but you know, as long as you're careful, it works out really well. And in fact, I don't even know if you could do this with Atlas track in this with the method that I'm using, because it just doesn't want to stay in place. But the first thing you do is rough in the radius. I also, in my case, I solder all the curve joints on the track. I just don't want any joints on the curve that aren't soldered, because they have a tendency to straighten out and cause derailments. So I put extra gaps on my straightaways to make sure that the rail can expand, but I do solder all my curves. So what I do is I normally do about 2 pieces of flex track soldered together, and you can see there off in the distance that I've started putting in the pins at the on the sides of the rail, and that these pins are not to maintain the radius, they're to set the space where the plastic strip is going to go. So basically, I just take these push pins, got these at Office Depot, and then I just put them in every, you know, about 1.5 inches or so. And I generally try on some of this, I put the push pins right next to the rail to sort of like keep it all even. But unfortunately, when I did that since the plastic was the super elevation plastic strips were closer to the rail, it actually raised the rail up higher than I would preferred. So, you know, it's just one of the things about learning process. So now I kind of move them out a little bit away from the rail, so they're a little bit inset from the edge of the tie, but they're pretty much more or less even with the tie. Another thing that I'll mention while I'm putting the rest of these on, you'll notice that both the bench work and my sub road bed and the cork has all been painted. Well, the main reason for that, at least for the bench work and the sub road bed, is that as you can probably see in the background, my basement is unfinished, and it's going to be a while before I can actually get it finished. So I'm trying to compensate for the expansion and contraction of the wood as much as I can by sealing it with this is all primer paint. But in any event, so the next step is I'm using evergreen strip styrene Now, initially I was using 040 by 080, and when I ordered the restock, I accidentally selected 060. The 040 is the height is what I was after, but the 060 is the width, and it's working out okay, but I kind of would have preferred 080. But like I said, you know, probably in the future I might go with 030 or maybe even 020, because it's a little bit high in HO scale. I mean, the maximum prototype was about 6-inch SuperElevation, and this is about, like I said, 4. But I'm thinking, you know, I just wanted a little bit more subtle next time. But anyway, so let's get started. Okay, I don't know how well this video is gonna work out as far as capturing the process, but so once I got all the pins laid out, I usually start from my straight part to the curve. You know, I like to set it out maybe about 5 inches or so, and then I'll feather the ends. But I put one here on the outside to hold it in place, and then basically it's just a matter of lifting up the rail and placing the strip. This is just getting the strip in place. And then I'll put one more on the end, on the outside, to just generally hold it in place. It doesn't have to be exact at this point, because all we're looking at is pushing it against these pins. Because once you set the outside radius with the strips, we're going to be taking the track away and CAing the strips down to the top of the cork. And also, I paint the cork. I mean, I would paint it anyway, even if I wasn't in the unfinished basement, to paint the cork to seal it. And it gives the CA a little bit something more to adhere to, because if the cork was unpainted, it would absorb a lot of that CA. So by sealing it, it helps, and it glues really well, really quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue on through the rest of this this 2-piece flex track, and then we'll pick it up again. Okay, I've got the plastic strip set up now, ready to go. So you can see that I've got it lined up all the way around these 2 pieces of flex track that are soldered. And now we'll get ready to do the gluing. Okay, we're getting ready to glue now. This is what I'm using. It's my wife uses this. It's a color change crazy glue. I like it because it has a color change and it's got the brush. So basically what I do is just lightly draw the brush down the length. And that's where the purple color comes in, which is nice. So you can see that it's getting on there. It's a little bit tricky, but you know, a little bit of practice, it works out good. And then be sure you got some nail polish remover because you can have a tendency to get it on your hands. And then I just line it up and just very carefully Start it down a couple spots. It just takes a couple seconds, it'll set. Just very lightly. And then once it sets a little bit, I'll push it down. Just even pressure so it doesn't buckle. That's basically it. Real simple. Glue's right on there. And I'll just continue on and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, now you can see that the plastic strip is down and ready for painting, and I just kind of masked off so keep some overspray out there. The other thing I wanted to mention is when I'm actually putting on the CA, I do wear goggles and a dust mask because there's quite a bit of CA you need to put on there, and if you get too close to it, your eyes start burning and everything, so just be a little bit careful. So now basically it's just a matter of painting it so it'll match the roadbed, because I got basically painted it gray, because with gray ballast it helps cover up all the different colors and you can actually get away with using a little bit less ballast.